Resistance 2 is yet another game in a long line of dystopian first-person shooters where you fight off an onslaught of alien invaders. What sets the Resistance series apart from other games in the genre is that it's set in an alternate past where the aliens named Chimera return to Earth as some frail attempt to regain the planet that they once had. Part of their strategy is to infect humans with their version of the T-virus where they cocoon them and turn them into other Chimera. They will attack in just hordes or just basically charge at you and beat the crap out of your ass. The game does have online multiplayer where it ranges from 2 players or 8-player campaigns. They play nothing like the standard one. You can play in team deathmatches or you can play capture the flag type of games that I've been playing back when I played Counter-Strike and Team Fortress 10 years ago. So anybody who's used to playing first-person shooters or worth their salt playing FPS games know that you should play them with a keyboard and mouse anyway. I'm really not going to focus on multiplayer. I'm going to stick with a campaign in this review. And the game begins with Nathan Hale wandering some 22 kilometers in the outskirts of London where the first game ended. He gets picked up by Serpent, a tilt-rotor helicopter that looks like a C-22 Osprey that first made its flight in 1989. And you know what? The game's filled with anachronisms like that. You got over-the-ear head mics. There are woolly caps worn by tough guys in the sunlight. There are flags with 50 stars, even though Alaska and Hawaii didn't become states until 1959, and the game's set in 1953 and 51. I know what you're thinking. I'm being a little bit picky, and you'll never care about the stars on a flag, ever. I accept your apologies. God bless America. Once Nathan is picked up from England to Iceland, where Serpent Base is located, they end up getting shot down. For some reason, they forget to radio ahead and see if they're being attacked. This is where we run into Daedalus, who is the self-proclaimed somehow leader of the Chimera. He's a squid-like creature with a human face that I think propels and flies around with his own bloated sense of self-worth. So the moment that you meet him, he gives you some psychic connection, talks to you in your brain, and you immediately go into a coma. This would be where the first part of the game ends in 1951. You wake up 2 fucking years later, and I'm not kidding you, in 1953, with a good doctor leaning over you and telling you that the Chimera have been kind enough to attack the United States on both fronts on the east and west coast. They have unearthed the spires. No, they didn't build the towers. They unearthed them, and it is our job to take them down. Great, let's go. The game gives you an array of weapons to actually fight with. You'll get the carbine, the Bullseye 1 and 2, which are standard Chimeran fare. There's a secondary fire on the Bullseyes where you can actually shoot a tracer, and all the bullets will fire directly at an enemy. All the weapons have secondary fires, but you run out of the bullets very quickly. There is the 44 Magnum, the Auger, which allows you to see through walls and shoot through walls. There is the standard Jesse Ventura I Ain't Got Time to Bleed Wraith gun, which has a nice shield in front of it too, and the ever so popular in any FPS, the sniper rifle. Not that it really matters, there are other weapons, but the game only gives you what it wants to give you and how many bullets you want. Good friggin' luck finding any bullets after you pick up a great weapon. You know what? You're going to get used to shooting with the carbine and the Bullseye throughout the entire game. And it's a good thing you'll get used to those weapons because the Chimera have like eagle eyes and they can shoot you from 50 million miles away. I swear, the only thing that you're ever going to see when you come across is a sea of yellow and white bullets no matter where you go. You turn a corner and blam, they're just hammering you with bullets, especially if they have augers because they're going to shoot through walls. Not necessarily that I mind, but it's just hard to find out where they're coming from, especially when they send drones at you. Drones are these little fly creatures, which I wonder why the Chimera just don't send 5,000 at you, because you have no radar and you have no idea where these fucking things are coming from, and they just shoot the shit out of you from above. One of the more interesting enemies in the game is the pure Chimera, which is like a bunch of beetles, maybe with some electricity, and they get to chase you around. Of course, bullets do not affect them, so you have to run, and since it's a first-person shooter and I don't know where my shoulders are, if you run in the wall, you're screwed. And it took me a while to figure out exactly how to run away from them, and really I'm not certain if I mastered it, because there are times where I know I wasn't hitting anything, and they still caught up with me and killed me. This game has this one great part where you're running down a hall and you run into the Chimeran swarm. And you have to lure them back down the hall. And since the Chimeran swarm, they can dismantle a human, but they can't seem to push a button to open a door. So you get to trick them, make them come out of vent and keep running, and actually make it look a lot easier. Fortunately for you, once Nathan gets down the hall, he runs into Daedalus again and immediately passes out like the girl that he is. Not that being a girl's a bad thing, they're probably more willing to fight than most of your AI teammates, and that's the one thing that I've noticed in this game. You'll be hammering away or finding yourself alone more often than you need to be in this game. So I'm fighting off the Chimera, killing everybody that's shooting at me in the screen. I take out the last one, then all of a sudden, here come my teammates just gallivanting around. Thanks, guys, I appreciate the help there. Thanks for making me take them all out. The best part is that when they're coming at you, your teammates will just let them run right through. So he's reloading, and I'm sitting here, wait, whoa, it's my time to reload. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. That's great. I freaking appreciate that. I don't know how that there's an onslaught of enemies, and Capelli can have the Jesse Ventura Wraith and still let him get through his shield on me. You have a Gatling gun. Hose them down. Here I am just killing a splicer, and they just let a horde of Grim just come right at me. They don't even care. You know, the enemies and the AI in this game are just crazy. What are you looking at? Seriously, you know, you would probably be able to enter that in the keypad if you were actually looking at it. What are you doing? Capelli, seriously, is that guy insane or what? Dude, what's wrong with your eyes? Are you alright? Are you the Undertaker? Undertaker, don't you roll them eyes back, or hell, we'll have to lay the smackdown on your Rudy Poo candy. No, nothing. You know, the best part, I think, of any scene in any first-person shooter game I've ever seen is this one, where they don't see him. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh. And he gets down on the ground and checks him. He checks him. You know, I'm not a doctor. I'm pretty sure he's dead. You know, the guts on the floor tell me so. And that's one of the things that really bugs me about this game. The blood really doesn't look like blood when you shoot somebody. It looks more like jelly donuts, really. And the boss fights in this game are sort of lackluster, too. There really isn't much to them. You get to run around from a spider who spits on you and kills you with one hit. You get to fight a kraken in the sea with an electrical pulse cannon that you walk right out to him instead of shooting him from far away, which doesn't make sense. You get to lure the pure chimera into an energy field so you can shoot them after you turn it on and scare them. Probably the most disappointing boss battle that I've ever come across in this game would be the 300-foot chimeran megalith, whatever, Leviathan, which they call him for some reason even though he's in water, who proceeds to just pick you up and chuck you instead of actually doing anything with you. And really what you do is you shoot him in the mouth and you have a time sequence where you have to run and just avoid getting smashed. Honestly, there really wasn't much to it, and I expected a lot more from this boss until you get to the end where you have to shoot down a sky bridge on his head and open up a big jelly donut-like hole where I can shoot the Lark and blow him up and take him down. Honestly, I expected a lot more from this boss than just 3 hits, and it was dead. I wanted a big battle, and I didn't get one. And I'm not trying to say all of these things actually make the game terrible. The game itself is not terrible, but for Resistance 2 and Resistance 1 selling so well, I expected a lot more out of this game. And it's just not here. There's just not a lot of substance. The PlayStation 3 does not have a lot of titles, and this one is not living up to be anything more than mediocre. And were I you, I would either buy it on the cheap or rent it.